from Rokblokz. Today in the shop, we're working on the Maverick R. We've got a new set of fender flares for it, so let's go ahead and show you how to install them. Here we have the tools laid out that you'll need for install. You'll need a 5/16 drill bit with drill. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver. We've got ours on a drill. You'll need a 4mm Allen, a T30 Torx, a 10mm socket, and a mallet. Here we have your front laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your front main flap, your front accent, your front mounting bracket, and the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Before we head over to the vehicle, we're going to pre-assemble our accent. I'm just going to flip it over and we're going to press our flange nuts or dome nuts into the hex-shaped holes from the side without the logo. Just get those lined up. Press those in. Now we're ready to head over to the vehicle and begin installing. Here we are at the front fender on this Maverick R. We're going to begin by locating the dimples along the front fender right here and right here. Once you've located those, you're going to take your bracket. The holes in the side with the logo are going to align with it like so. And then all we're going to do is take our number 10 screws with a dress washer and our Phillips head screwdriver. And we're just going to go ahead, we're going to drill into those dimples. If you want, you can pre-start those like I just did, and then we can lift the bracket up in just a moment. There we go. Got those pre-drilled. Now we can put our screw through our bracket, get that into position. You want to be careful. Finish tightening those by hand just to make sure you don't over tighten them. And with that, that's going to set our alignment for our upper flap. We're going to take our main flap or our upper flap and we're going to bend it along the bend lines right here. Then we'll relax that back. We're going to take our two 20mm flathead screws and we're going to mount this on the backside like so. We're going to take a small washer and an M6 lock nut. We're going to put that on the bracket side. Like so. We'll grab our other one. There we go. We'll have that relaxed. We're going to grab our 10mm and our 4mm Allen. We're just going to go ahead, we're going to tighten this down. Okay, now we're going to press that up against our fender and then we'll fully tighten it. that fully tightened, we're going to lift our upper flap into position, aligning it right here so that it relaxes and follows the inner lines on here. With that, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to match drill all of these holes. Optionally, you can take a Sharpie and mark the holes, fold this out of your way, and take your drill and drill your holes. But for this install, we're just going to go ahead, hold it into position, and match drill. So we're going to take our drill, 5/16 drill bit, and we're just going to align that, and then slowly just drill in ever so slightly. Clean up your hole. Once you get one of them, you can go ahead and use one of your inserts to secure it, like so. You may need to take your mallet. Tap your core in, with that in place. Now it's going to help hold You may need to turn your wheel just to gain a little bit of access. And so now we're just going to go ahead and match drill all of our other holes. Those drilled. Clear out some of the drill shavings. And we're going to go ahead, use our mallet, get those set. There we go. Those fully expanded, that's the upper. Now with those all expanded, we're going to go ahead, grab our lower flap. We're going to attach that here by taking our 1/2-inch thumb screws, going through the main flap, and then we're going to screw into each of the flange nuts we pressed into there earlier. Get all 3 of them in before you fully tighten it down, just to help with alignment. Once they're in, tighten them down, and that completes the front install. You can repeat these same steps on the other side. Now let's go ahead and jump to the rear. Here we have the rear laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your rear main flap, your rear accent, your rear mount plate, and your rear mount bracket. You'll also get the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Before we head to the vehicle, we're just going to prep our mount plate here with a couple of M6 clips, just by putting them like so. Putting it so that the extruded or the protruding part of your clip is on the same side as the etching. Now we're ready to head over to the vehicle and begin installing. Here we are at the rear fender. We're going to begin by assembling our flap. To do so, we're going to take one of our button heads, put an 1.25-inch washer, and align our 2 clips with the outer 2 holes on this front section. Then we're just going to go ahead get those started by hand. Just about 3/4 of the way in. Now we're good to go ahead, bend our flap a little bit. Now we'll go up into the fender and begin mounting. We're going to apply our edge guard right along the inner portion of the fender, or the taillight, just right along here. Just slide it over the edge and pull in until seated. So we're going to remove this bolt here in the bed. That's going to correspond with the nut down inside the fender. We're going to remove the nut right here along with the washer. Now with that removed, we can go ahead and mount our bracket. So now we're going to go ahead, take our main bracket, and we're going to slide it up through the gap inside your tail light right here. You'll take your small tail and you just gently wiggle it and rotate it all at the same time. And then the mount hole on the bottom flange of the mount bracket is going to align with the screw in your trunk, or with the screw in the bed. And with that in place, you can hold it and take your lock nut and get that started on the bottom. Now with that started, we can grab our Torx and our 10mm socket and tighten that up. So from this point, we're going to be tightening the 10mm right here. We're just holding the Torx up in the bed, and we're just going to go ahead, tighten that down. That's going to lift our bracket. And then right up inside here, you're going to want to push the bracket all the way forward so that it's touching the edge of the bed right here. And once it's connected right there, you'll go ahead and fully tighten that down. With that fully tightened down and fully up against that wall right here, we're going to use the second hole here as an alignment guide to take our 5/16 drill bit and drill up into the bed right here. Now we'll take our drill, go straight up. It should be aligned fairly close to the ridge here and just out here a bit. So that's going to go up into the bed. Now we're going to take our 70mm countersunk with a dress washer, and that's going to come down from inside the bed. Now we're going to place both our spacers in between the bed and our bracket. So we're going to prep those and stack our spacers, align it with the hole, push that down through, and then we'll have our bolt coming out. On the other side, I'll take a small washer and a lock nut, and we'll secure that. Now to tighten that, we're going to take our 4mm Allen up inside the bed and our 10mm down here. We're going to fully secure that. Now again, you want to make sure that your bracket is fully rotated so that it's touching the backside of this pocket in your bed before drilling your hole. Once you're in place, now your bracket is fully secured, we can move on to the two other brackets and then the flap. Next, we're going to work on the upper screw here. It's a 10mm. Just go ahead, loosen that up. We're going to take our J bracket, which is the tighter bend bracket. We're going to secure that so that it follows the fender's edge and is parallel with that. Once you get the bracket parallel, you can go ahead, take your 10mm socket and fully tighten that down. With that fully tightened down, you can go ahead, take an M6 clip, slide it over, and align the holes. Next, we're going to move on to our next small bracket, which is right here. You'll undo this one with your Torx. We're going to reuse that same screw, and we're going to place it through our small L bracket and put it back into the hole that it came from, getting that started by hand. And we'll take our T30 Torx, tighten that down, and we're going to make sure that this is parallel with our edge right here, or with the fender. That way it follows the same direction. And with that parallel, we're going to fully secure that. When you're fully tightening it, be careful so it doesn't rotate on you. You're going to keep it that same direction. Get that nice and snug. Now with that in place, we'll take another M6 clip, slide that on, and align the holes. Now that we've got our clips fully on our small brackets, we're actually going to move towards the inner fender right here, closer towards the bed where your harness is. And along that harness, we're going to undo the frontmost clip that is holding that up. It'll be an 8mm socket. We're just going to remove that screw, and the harness will be loose, but we'll re-secure that later. You can set this screw to the side. We're going to begin mounting the flap using a 25mm button head with 2-inch washer and a 2-inch washer on the top side of our flap. That's going to go directly into the J bracket that we placed right there. And get that, lift that up into position. The tail of the flap is going to go up above the bracket on the rear. Just going to get that started by hand. Leave some mobility for it to move around. Now for this front one, we're going to take the teeth of that bracket that we installed, and that's going to slide up just over the edge of the plastic here, and then we're going to align the center hole with our bracket. We're going to place a 2-inch washer on the outside, using a 1 1/4 washer on the inside as a spacer. So I'm just going to swoop this over and into position. Getting those teeth tucked up and in. Then I'm going to slide my washer in there and going through both layers of the flap, the mount plate, and the washer, and then into our clip. Might take a second. There we go. Once you get that aligned, you go ahead and just get that about 3/4 of the way tightened down. Same with the top. Now we're going to move towards the rear and attach the accent to our main flap at these holes here. Now we're going to take our accent flap. We're going to slide that in, aligning it with the holes in the bracket. Also aligning it with the holes in the main flap here. So we want everything slightly loose at this point. This is going to set our alignment between the two pieces. We'll adjust it to the body, and then we'll fully secure it. So we're going to go with the innermost point here. We're going to take a 20mm flathead with dress washer. Then we're going to take another 20mm flathead with dress washer. At this one point right here, the junction point where it's going through both layers and the bracket, we're going to use the larger 25mm flathead, and that's going to go through all of those. So get that lined up. There we go. Put that through. And then for the rest, it'll all be 20mm butt. And then for the rest, it will just be 25mm flatheads with dress washers. Now to secure the bottom side, we're going to use a small washer, small washer, small washer, and then 5 of the 1¼ inch washers. And all of them will get locked together with some lock nuts. And go ahead, go to the bottom side and put on our lock nuts and washers. Now we're just going to secure all of those and fully tighten all of those bolts down. Now from the underside, working our way forward, we're just going to fully tighten down all of our screws. With your clips, you want to make sure that they stay rotated so that the U shape faces the inside of the vehicle, and that's going to give it so it doesn't bind and cause a weird angle. It's going to make sure that it angles the flat properly. So you just kind of hold it for a second and it will keep that position then you can fully tighten it. All right, with all those in place, our final screw is the number 10 screw. We're going to place that through a small washer, place that through your wiring harness, place another washer on the back side, and now we're going to go up into the body right here and just secure that last inner mounting point. So with the Phillips head screwdriver, if you use a drill, be very careful not to strip it out. And that completes the rear install. You can repeat these same steps on the other side. Thanks for watching.